And the title of tonight is Literacy Love. And I was very intentional when naming it that because I'm passionate about literacy, and it is my hope and dream that everyone at Brookview becomes just as passionate as well. Because I know when our students are passionate about literacy, then there's no heights that we cannot reach. So tonight, I hope it's an evening of inspiration. I hope you get inspired, get excited, and I hope that you also walk away with some strategies that you can start using with your students at home.
And Ms. Donald, before you go to the next slide, let me apologize first of all. Parent to families, if you all do not know, this is our wonderful, amazing literacy coach, Miss Deanna Donald. This is her first year as a panda, and she has done some phenomenal things with our students as far as literacy is concerned. And she is an amazing addition to the Panda family. We are so happy to have her. So I do apologize that completely slipped my mind. I was just so excited because I'm a parent also. So I was excited to see, because I've already seen the presentation. So I'm excited. So I do apologize. So now, Miss Donald, thank you. I apologize. Take it away.
Thank you, Ms. Freeman. So again, tonight is entitled Literacy Love, an evening of inspiring you guys, our parents, to learn how to build a love for literacy in our Brookview students. So tonight, again, this is our purpose. We've done the welcome and the sign in. And for those of you who are just joining, please make sure that you're dropping your students' names in the chat so they can receive PVIS points. We also, Ms. Freeman just set the stage for us. I'll be going over comprehension strategies. At the end, we'll have questions and, of course, our Title I evaluation. So the first thing we're going to do is watch a story that is entitled Remember to Dream. And while you watch this, I want you to consider the following. What word or phrase comes to your mind while you're listening to this story? And then I also want you to think about whether you are a parent or a student, what is your literacy dream? What is it that you dream about when you think about literacy? What is it that you want to accomplish in the area of literacy? So I'm going to let Cynthia Arrivo take it over. 1 second.
Welcome to Storyline by SAG After Foundation. I'm Cynthia Arrivo, and today
Miss Wallace, are you able to hear?
We can hear, but it's a bit of an echo.
Yeah. Okay. I think I know what it is.
We don't have sound right now. Thank you, parents, for your patience. We are going to get this up and running shortly. For those of you who just joined, pandas and parents, make sure you put your first and last name, students in the chat, and parents put your name in there as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we should be up soon, Ms. Donald, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is not allowing me to share sound. Like Teams is not. I don't have the option to share sound. Miss Freeman, do you have the presentation pulled up?
I'm sorry, I thought I was unmuted. Yes, I should have it. Yes, ma'am. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Welcome all our Brookview family. We see you out there. Welcome, Miss Reeves.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, Miss Newell. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Is that Miss Courier? Oh, Andrew and Amir, thank you for being here.
Did it have sound?
Yes, ma'am. We can hear it now. Thank you. You're
Okay,
here.
awesome. I'm about to press play. Here we are, guys. Here we go.
Thank you.
Oh my God, dude. Are you guys hearing anything?
We can
Is it
hear
not
it.
play? It's not playing?
Yes,
I
it was
can
playing.
play.
It might just be me. I'm having technical challenges. I just wanted to make sure. I switched devices.
Okay. I apologize. Okay, here we go.
So at the end of that video, that the lady who read that to you guys, I just want to echo what she said. We need you guys as parents, and we need you guys to show up for your students and to help us instill this passion for literacy, but also to help us explain to them how important literacy instruction is, and not just to pass the Georgia milestones or to pass a unit test, but to be lifelong readers so they can be the most successful people that we know that they can be in this world. So, as you were listening to the video, you were to think of a word or phrase that came to mind while you read. And I want a brave soul or two to come off mute and to share with us what are some of the words or phrases that came to mind as you watched this story being read?
And students, you should be right next to your parents. So show your parents how to unmute because we know you all know how to do it. Show your parents how to unmute, or one of you all answer for us.
Yeah.
Hi,
Hi.
my name's Cameron.
Hey, Cameron.
Uh, What I
What did you hear,
saw,
Cameron?
I heard um, it was one of the words that she said while reading the book.
What
It
word was that?
uh, it it started with a B. Mm,
So remember, the title is Remember to Dream. So in this book, what word did she keep repeating? What word was very important that she kept repeating throughout the story?
she kept repeating uh, pear. Wait, pear.
Dream. Did she keep repeating dream? Did she keep telling Abera to go dream some more?
She kept saying dream.
Yes, she did. She kept saying the word dream. So that is an awesome one word to capture from reading this book, the word dream. I know when I read this story, I kept hearing, or what came to my mind was expectations. She continued to tell her mom what it is that she saw, and her mom kept sending her back because she always wanted more. And I know that this year I've had the luxury of working with teachers, but also with students, and that's something that I try to instill in them. Like, don't stop right here. There's always more that you can get out of this. So, expectations was the word that I came up with after listening to this story. Anyone else? Alrighty. So today we're going to talk about our literacy dream that we have for Brookview students, and hopefully help you as parents be able to make that dream come true at home while we're also making that dream come true at school. So, why our literacy dream matters. These are a few statistics that will help drive home why literacy education is so majorly important. So, number one, according to the Department of Education, the more students read or are read to for fun on their own time and at home, the higher their reading scores will be. So it's, yes, we're teaching at school, but the real true magic happens at home when they are surrounded by books, when they are being read to, when they're able to read to you at home as parents. That's where the true magic happens, because they start to see that connection. Like, oh, my parents are taking this just as seriously as my teachers, and that's when we'll be able to make our literacy dream come true. Number two, books contain more words than children are likely to encounter during spoken language. So, yes, we have conversations with our kids. Our kids watch TV, they listen to the radio, but books are going to introduce them to a vocabulary that conversations, TV, and radio will never introduce them to. So, vocabulary is definitely a piece that we're focusing on at Brookview, building that vocabulary in our students, and you can help us with that by having your students reading more and more at home. And lastly, students who choose what they read and have an informal environment in which to read are more motivated, and they'll read more and they'll show greater language and literacy development. So, allowing students to pick what they read at home so they can read those books that might be a little bit out of their reach. But with your support, you sitting there, motivating them, encouraging them, they're going to develop a deeper love for literacy. As well as when you're riding down the street, literacy is all around us. It doesn't even have to just come in a book. When you're riding down the street, ask your students, hey, what's that word say? What's this say? What does that word mean? And students, ask your parents, like you're riding down the street and you don't know what a word is, ask your parents to tell you what those words are and what they mean. That's how we're going to grow our vocabulary and ultimately become the best readers ever. So these are just a few statistics as to why literacy education is so super important. So now we're going to talk about how to make our literacy dreams come true. And I'm going to share some simple, very, very simple comprehension strategies that you guys can use at home with students that we too use in the classroom. And they are powerful. So they're simple. You don't have to take a lot of time to do them. You can just pull a book and you can do them. But they're powerful in getting our students to understand what it is that they're reading. So comprehension is simply that, understanding what it is that you read. Students should be able to draw conclusions, determine what's important versus what's not so important, list different facts that they're reading in a nonfiction text, talking about the different events that occur and analyzing characters, like how to describe those characters that we're reading about in our fiction text. So the first strategy is simple. It's just asking questions. And so when we ask questions, our questions change depending on what type of text that we are reading. So here I have literary or fiction. So those are those texts where they're going to have characters, and the characters are going to be in a certain place, which we call the setting. And then the character is going to experience some type of problem throughout the story. And by the end of the story, they're going to solve that problem. So, four basic but powerful questions that you can ask your students are: who are the characters in this story? What's the setting? Where is this story taking place? And when is this story taking place? What problem did our character have in this story? And lastly, how did our character solve their problem in the story? So that would be for literary or fiction text. On the other side, we have informational text or nonfiction. And there are two simple yet powerful questions I would love for you guys to ask your students when reading an informational text. So the first one would be, what's the topic? What is this even about? Is it about cheeseburgers, like and how they were invented? Is it about water and why drinking water is super important? Is it about cell phones and why cell phones are have benefits and why cell phones might not be so beneficial? And then after that, once they've determined the topic, simply asking them to list three facts so they can work on that recall. After I read something, I should be able to recall important things that were important to me after reading that text. So the next thing we're going to do is try it out. So I have a text here and it's three paragraphs and it is nonfiction because this is a text where we can get information and facts. So we're going to read the first paragraph of this text and then we're going to figure out what the topic is, and then we're going to see if anybody will be able to tell us any of the facts, a fact that they learned from the first paragraph. So it reads: stick insects are a tasty snack for birds and other animals. But these bugs have a tricky way to hide. They look like sticks. They also don't move much. This makes them hard to spot in the trees where they live. So, the first thing I would do after reading this informational text is ask my student, what is the topic of this text? What is it even about? And they should be able to tell me that this text is about stick insects. Very simple. That's the topic. And then after that, I would want to ask them, well, what are three things that you learned about stick insects? And one thing I could learn is that stick insects, the way that they hide or camouflage themselves is by looking like a stick. Because if somebody thinks that, or a person or an animal or another insect thinks that they are a stick, what are they going to do? Leave them alone because they're camouflaging. So that's the way that they stay alive. Um, Also, I learned that they are a tasty snack for for other birds and other animals. So I know that people or animals and birds want to eat them. So they have to find a way to stay alive, which would be them hiding using those camouflaging techniques of looking like a stick. So again, when we're reading an informational text, just ask your students, what is it about? In a couple of words, tell me what it's about. And then tell me three things that you learned about that topic. So that's strategy one. Strategy two is called true or false. Again, very simple. And we're going to read a text, that's step one. And then after reading that text, you're going to give your reader a statement about that text. And the statement can be true, it can be totally made up, so it can be false. And you're going to ask your reader if the statement is true or false based on what it is that they have read. And if they say that it is true, they should be able to give you evidence as to why it's true. If they say it is false, they should also be able to give you evidence as to why it is false. So now we're going to try out the true or false strategy. So I have a text here. It is entitled Johnny's Bright Idea. And this text, unlike the one we just read about stick insects, this text is literary. It's fiction because it has characters, it has a setting, it has a problem that the character is experiencing, and also it has a solution that the character is going to come up with. So I am going to read this story quickly to you, and then we're going to look at two statements that I have, and we're going to decide together if they're true or if they're false. So Johnny's bright idea. Johnny was singing in the trees with the other birds. He listened to the squirrels talking about which birds they liked. I love the spots on that bird's wings, said one squirrel. What beautiful red feathers, said another. The squirrels didn't say anything about Johnny. In fact, they didn't even notice Johnny. His plain gray feathers looked like old tree bark. If only he stood out more. The next day, Johnny covered himself with colorful feathers that had fallen off the other birds. Now, the other forest animals turned and looked at him. Finally, thought Johnny. So I have two statements off to the side. Number one, the squirrels loved how Johnny looked. In the chat box, or you can come off mute, tell me if this statement is true or if this statement is false. I'm going to count down from 5 to 0. So if you think it's true, write true in the chat box or come off mute. If you think it's false, write false in the chat box or come off mute. You have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All right. So I'm looking at the chat box and I have there a few answers. I see some true, I see one false, and I see several truths. So the squirrels loved how Johnny looked. Is that true or is that false? Let's see. It is false. So, parents, this would be a great time to clear up those misconceptions or confusion if students are answering that question incorrectly. So, we would tell them to go back in the text and figure out why it is false. And I will point them to here. I love the spots on that bird's wing, said one squirrel. What beautiful red feathers, said another. The squirrels didn't say anything about Johnny. In fact, they didn't even notice him. So they didn't notice him because he had nothing on him that stood out. And that is why at the end of the text, Johnny put all those feathers on him so he could make himself stand out. So this statement would be false. They did not love how Johnny looked. All right, so let's do it again. Statement two. The squirrels noticed Johnny at the end of the text because he made himself colorful. Is that statement true or is that statement false? You have 5 seconds. Put it in the chat if it's true or false. Five, four,
All right, pandas, let's see. I'm so
three,
excited.
two, one, zero. Great. I see several answers. And everybody got it. Well, let's see. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to put this on the screen. All right. The squirrels noticed Johnny at the end of the text because he made himself colorful. Is that true or false? The answer is true. And everybody in the chat box got it right. Thank you. He is noticed by the squirrels at the end of the text because he made himself colorful. We could even look at this illustration and we can see he made himself colorful. He put those colorful feathers on him so he could stand out, so he could be noticed by the squirrels. So, this again is called the true false strategy. Read a text, give the students a statement, and have them tell us whether it is true or whether it is false. And the added piece is evidence. Make them prove why they chose true, make them prove why they chose false. That strategy of going back in the text, that is going to always be the perfect strategy for students to help them know whether they're right on the right track or maybe they're not on the right track. So that is the true false strategy. Our next strategy is a little bit more in depth, I would say. It will require a little bit of pre-work on your part, parents, but not too much. So don't be scared. So this strategy is called the anticipation guide. Oftentimes when students read, they just start reading and they don't really know what they're reading for. So it's important that we set the purpose. So when we set the purpose, we students know exactly what they're reading for. Like I'm looking to determine if there is a problem and what the problem is and how the problem got solved. So that narrows their focus and it helps them to pay attention to those specific details in the text. So that is the purpose of anticipation guides. So, step one, as the parent, you have to read the text first. Before the student ever sees it, you have to read the text first. Then, just like the last strategy, actually, you're going to come up with statements about the text. Mix it up. Put some that are true, put some that are false. Or you could have them all be false or all be true, whatever you like. And then you're going to allow your student to read the text. Oh, no, excuse me. You're going to allow your students to tell you if the statement is true or if they think the statement is false. They can be totally wrong. It is okay to be wrong because that is going to set their purpose for reading. Make it like a game. So there before you're asking them a question, they're like, okay, this is false. I know this is true. I know this is false. Great. So when you read, now you have to actually figure out if it's really true or if it's really false. So then they're going to read the text and then they're going to go back to the same statements you created and they're going to have to tell you, oh, I was wrong before. It is false. Like, and I know that because it's right here. Or it is true. I was right because it's right here. So just like with all the other ones, we're going to try it out. So here we go. So I have read the text already. I already know what the text is about. So I've come up with two statements. The first statement is robots can perform jobs better than humans. If you think that is true, I want you to type in the chat box true. If you think robots can perform jobs better than humans, type true. You have 5 seconds. Five, four, three, two, one, zero. Okay, good. I have some true and I have some false. Perfectly fine. That is okay. Now let's look at the second statement. Robots can make candy. Do you think that is true or do you think that is false? Type it in the chat box and remember your answers. Remember what you said about each statement. So you have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Zero. Ooh, some people think robots cannot make candy, and some of you all think that robots absolutely can make candy. So we're gonna read and figure it out. We're gonna read to see if robots do make candy. We're gonna read to see if robots can do jobs better than humans. So here is our text. Follow along as I read the text to you guys. Robots are machines that help people get things done. They aren't alive and they don't have feelings. This makes them better than people for some jobs. For example, some jobs in factories are boring. They need people to do the same thing over and over. People don't like that, but robots don't mind. So, robots are used in factories to make things like cars, toys, and even candies. All right. So I read the text to you. So now that you've read, you know all the information, you know everything there is to know about robots, you're going to reread the statement. And it says robots can perform jobs better than humans. Now that you've read about robots, is that true or is that false? Put it in the chat box. Tell me if that's true or false. Somebody's already in there. Perfect. Ooh, here we go. All right. Oh, I didn't count down. Okay, let me count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I have a lot of truths in the chat box. So let's see if that is true. Very good. It is true. And so in my true fashion, I'm always going to ask, well, how do you know that? Why is it true? Go back in the text and let me know why it is true. In this sentence, this makes them better than people for some jobs. This proves that robots can indeed perform some jobs better than humans. All right. The last statement, robots can make candy. Now that we've read the text, is this statement true or is this statement false? Put it in the chat box. 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0. Perfect. I see again a lot of truths. So robots can make candy. Let's see if you are right. Yes, yes, and yes. Robots can make candy. And the way that I know that is because in this sentence it says, so robots are used in factories to make things like cars, toys, and even candies. Very good. So it is definitely true. So this strategy is again called the anticipation guide. And the purpose of it again is to build up that anticipation in students, letting them read the statements first and tell you if it's true or false before they have any knowledge about what it is that they're reading. And then letting them actually read the text and go back and think about what they answered before to see the difference. If it is true, if they were right, if it was true or false, or if they were wrong, if it was true or false. So these are just 3 simple strategies that you can do at home with your students. And they were the anticipation guide, true or false, and simply asking questions, depending on if it's a fiction text or a nonfiction text. So that those are all the strategies I have for you this evening. And at this time, I will take any questions, comments, or if you need any additional ideas, please let me know at this time.
And while we're waiting on you know what, the presentation was so amazing, and like I said, it's recorded, so all this will be shared later. But Miss Donald is so amazing. Like, I know questions are hard, but think about them. I'm going to drop her email address in the chat. So at any time, if you have any questions or if something comes up overnight, if you think of anything, please always feel free to email us anytime. Also, pandas that answered in the chat, I have each of your names. I'm going to find you, and you're going to get a little special treat from me tomorrow. Thank you all for your participation.
Yes, thank you so much to everybody. Thank you for your participation with all my questions. I saw parents and students participating, so thank you. And thank you for your patience in the beginning. I don't know what happened with my teams and the sound.
I just want to thank you guys. This has been 2 wonderful nights of literacy exploration from our read aloud nights, and some of you were here with me yesterday. So to have you back for our parent workshop, we greatly appreciate it. Wonderful job, Ms. Donald. Phenomenal. Great strategies, practical strategies that any parent can use. Parents, you have some work to do, because not only are we preparing our kids for Georgia milestones, we're preparing them for life as lifelong readers. So it's important for our parents to be equally as informed as we are, with tools to help their kids be successful in school. I think, again, if anything, the modeling of these strategies, you saw it, you tried it, now let's see you do it. When you're reading with your kiddos or they're reading with you, we want you to use these 3, the easiest 3 possible. That, especially true or false. Imagine how many stories the kids can read with you, and you literally make up something and they have to just go show, is it true or false? Now go show me in the text. We want to highly encourage you to get comfortable with citing evidence and going back to that test to prove it. A lot of times our kids make guesses with no validation. So we want to validate our responses and be able to cite evidence. And that's a critical skill that they'll see all the way on through their collegial years. So again, we thank you for being here. One of the most important things is feedback from you. So we have Ms. Freeman, our amazing parent liaison, who is going to ask for some input from you guys. Oh, by the way, before I turn it over, I want to do my shameless plug. March 9th at 6 o'clock, we're having a parent update meeting. This is a big update. I'm going over attendance. I'm going over summer school, which is 1st grade through 5th grade. I'm going over Georgia milestones updates. There are a lot of changes coming down the pipe. There are a lot of things that parents need to be informed on. And so I want and I need to see you there on March 9th. Again, we're giving information that is important and pertinent for you. And I really need parents to know about the changes with summer school, because there are some real changes and mandated changes. And I'm just going to put it out there. Come to the meeting March 9th. You will receive a letter tomorrow if your kids are in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade from me. These letters are coming out regarding Georgia milestones, because I'm not sure if all of my families have had the reality of we are full back in full school, and Georgia milestones testing is happening. And also mandatory summer school if our 3rd, 4th, and 5th do not pass their reading or their math. So that's a huge thing that parents might not be realizing. So if you know a parent that should be here, let's make sure we share and spread the word about that March 9th meeting. I'm going to blow your phones up, so don't block me. I am going to email the world out of you, and you know I will infamous with the text messaging. So I will do all of that to make sure that my parents are as informed as they can be, because Georgia milestone is not just an elementary thing. Our 8th graders take the Georgia milestone. Our high schoolers take the Georgia milestone end of course test. So there are a lot of assessments going on. I need parents to be aware of it. All right, Ms. Freeman, thank you so much for letting me steal and do my shameless plug right there. I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And Miss Donald, thank you so much. Thank you for your time this evening, because guys, as much as we love these workshops and everything, please remember, like, we're at home. So we want to thank and show appreciation to those families and those. We have pandas that are on here. We have teachers that have been working all day. They have come to support. So I just want to thank you, Ms. Donald. Thank you for your time. The presentation was amazing. And parents, don't worry if you missed anything or you want to go over anything later. This is being recorded. Oh, somebody please stop the recording if you can. But this is being recorded for you for later, to go back and review. It will be in our Panda newsletter. Please remember that comes out every Friday. Now, here's my shameless plug. As a time